Welcome back to my channel. My name's Mandy, and today we're going to be taking these beautiful tomatoes and canning them. If you're new to my channel, my name's Mandy. I'm a wife, mother of 3, and a teacher, and I love what I do. This is all things Mandy.
All right, so here is my bucket of tomatoes. It's like a 5-gallon bucket, maybe 3 gallons, I'm not sure. I got this from my mom. She grew these tomatoes in her garden, and they are a beauty. So I'm going to be getting ready to can these tomatoes. I'm going to take you with me today, so stay tuned. The first thing I need to do is prep everything. So I've got my mason jars here with the rings and the lids. So I'm going to work on getting those ready and sanitized for my tomatoes. And I'm going to be parboiling the tomatoes to help get the skins off. But first, I need to cut the core out. So I'm going to work on prepping these jars and rings and seals and my tomatoes. All right, so I've washed all my tomatoes. I'm going to start working on coring them before I put them in the water. Over here, I have 6 pint jars and 2 quart jars that I'm going to use. I'm not sure how much I'm going to come up with, so we're going to start here. And I saw this tip on YouTube, so I'm going to try it. And the tip that I saw was to take your jars and put them in a 250-degree oven while you're working on your tomatoes. So I'm going to try that. And then here I've got a pot of water coming to a boil. I'm going to parboil my tomatoes once I get them cored. All right, so to start, I've got my washed tomatoes. I'm going to take my knife and I'm just going to cut that top core out right there before I put them in my water to parboil. So then I'm going to just continue taking my knife. I'm not going down deep here. I'm just going right through the top just to get the core out. So I'm going to keep working on coring my tomatoes, and then I'll show you how we parboil them. Okay, so now I have all of my tomatoes cored, and I have my water boiling. I'm going to go drop these in that water for about 2 minutes, and then I'm going to take them out and put them in an ice bath. All right, so I'm just going to very easily drop my tomatoes in here. And like I said, they're only going to be in here for about 2 minutes, and I probably will have to do a couple batches here. So here's my first batch that I'm going to do for about 2 minutes, and then we will transfer that to the cold water bath. All right, so it's been a couple minutes and I'm getting ready to take these out. The reason that we parboil these tomatoes is to make it easier to peel the skins off. And then when we take them out of the pot and put them in the cold water that I had some ice in here, that's so that it stops the cooking process. So I'm going to start taking these out. Put these in the ice bath. You can see on some of the tomatoes here where the skins, this one's a good example, the skin has already started to peel off. Oops. All right, so I'm going to keep doing my tomatoes and then I'll come right back. So the tomatoes I just got out of that boiling water, I've soaked in this ice water, and as you can see, look, the skins just peel right off. And so this is going to make it to where I can get my tomatoes cut up and processed so we can put them in our jars and we won't have to worry about peeling them. So as you can see, that's a great way. Look, the peels just come right off. So I'm going to work on peeling these, and then here in a couple minutes these others batch will be done and we'll be ready to start. So now I have all of my tomatoes here peeled. They have been cored, and so now I'm ready to process them. Now I'm going to start by chopping them up and putting them into my pot here. At this point, you could do lots of different things. You could add some green chilies to this, or onions or garlic to make a sauce, or flavor your tomatoes. You could can them whole. You can dice them. You could puree them and make a tomato sauce. You could find a good salsa recipe and turn this into a salsa. But for the purposes of today's video, I'm going to keep it really simple. So I'm just going to dice these up, and we're just going to do diced tomatoes. So I'm going to take my tomatoes
and they're really soft. There's a little piece of skin left. And I'm just going to dice them up, just like this. And this is gonna be a great thing to have in the pantry that I could use in lots of different recipes, tomato sauces, spaghetti sauces, just to flavor any dish. You can do these as big or as little as you choose, okay? So I'm just gonna keep working here on dicing my tomatoes, and then I'm gonna get those in my pot and I'll show you what I do next. Okay, so I'm down to my last 2 tomatoes. So I'm just gonna continue to dice those. And these smell so good. So I've almost got my whole pot here full. And this has been so easy. All right, so got my tomatoes diced up. I'm gonna use my food mover. Get the last of those into my pot. There we go. All right. And now we're going to move to the stove. Okay, so now I've got my diced up tomatoes ready to heat up, come to a boil here in this pot. And on the back burner, I have another pot heating up with boiling water so I can put my rings and seals in that. So I'm just gonna let this hang out and I'll let you see what happens once we get ready to put the seals in. All right, so as you can see, my tomatoes are rapidly boiling now. So I'm gonna let that hang out, and this pot back here has come to a boil. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add my seals and my rings to get those warm so that they are sanitized, but they are also ready to seal when I get my jars packed. So I'm gonna let these just boil in that water for a few minutes, and I'm gonna get my jars out, and we're gonna get ready to pack our jars. All right, so I'm gonna start with my 2 quart jars because I'm not sure how many of this I'm gonna get. So I'm gonna do the quarts first. So I've got my jars out of the oven. They are 250 degrees. I'm gonna add a teaspoon of kosher salt to each jar, just like that. And then I'm gonna start adding my tomatoes. Now this is the part I'm not great at. I need to get me a bigger funnel because I don't have a good funnel for this, but it will be okay. So I'm gonna actually try this. This is my big tall teacher mug, and I'm gonna use it to help me. So I don't wanna, yeah, those are pretty hot to the touch. So I'm gonna make sure I have a mitt on. And let's see. That seems to be working. So I'm just gonna keep using my teacher mug. It's gonna make me a mess, I know, but I'll clean it up. I'm gonna keep adding my tomatoes until I get this quart jar to the bottom of the rim. You don't have to excuse my mess. All right, so there's the first one. So I'm gonna set that jar back there. Get this jar, and we're gonna do it again. Now, if I were to do this again, I definitely want to get a good ladle and a big wide funnel. That would help a lot, cut back on the mess, but hey, I'm frugal. I don't want to go buy anything else. So I'm using this with everything that I already had at the house. The only thing that I didn't have was the tomatoes, and my mom gave me those. So I'm dicing this up, canning these tomatoes up, basically for free. All right, so there's 2 quart jars ready to go. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and keep filling up my pint jars now, and let's see how many we come up with. All right, so I actually changed my mind and switched out the 2 quarts because I wasn't gonna get what I wanted. And so I ended up with 5 pints of the tomatoes. So I'm gonna take a damp paper towel, and these are still pretty hot. I'm gonna wipe the edges, make sure that they're clean. I want them clean so that the seals will seal. So clean up all the edges. Be real careful because these are hot. And then I'll show you what we do with our seals. So they're still back there just rapidly boiling. What I love about canning these tomatoes is I don't have to have any special equipment. I don't have to have a pressure canner or even a water bath canner. So here is my 5 jars. I've got this nifty little magnet tool. So I can pull out my rings and my seals. And the main thing that I want to focus on is getting those seals on first. Rings can kind of just hang out for a second. So there's another seal. There's another seal. Oh, there went my magnet. Put it back in there. And there's another one. Let's get that ring off of there. All right, so there's my seals. Then all I'm going to do is take my ring, put those on. Those are hot. Just be careful. I'm just loosely putting them on first, and then I'm going to make them tighter. Let's get them on first. All right, so I'm going to take each of these. I want to make sure they're really tight, so I'm going to get my oven mitt on so I can just really make sure that they're tight. Okay, and then what I saw on the internet, this one person do, and I'm going to try it. He turns them upside down for about 5 minutes, he says. Just lets them sit, and he'll turn them back over. So stay tuned. We'll be back in a little bit. Okay, so it's been about 5 minutes. I'm going to flip these over. We're just going to let them hang out. Sometime in the next few hours, you should hear a pop. They're going to start sealing for us. Once you hear a pop and you come and you mash and make sure that it can't pop up and down, then your tomatoes are done. So this will be yummy in all kinds of recipes. And like I said, I just kept it simple, just straight up tomatoes. You could add all kinds of spices. You could turn it into a salsa, tomato sauce, whatever you would like. But thank you for watching today. If you like content like this, it's the first time I've done anything like this, hit that thumbs up and make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell, and I can show you more videos like this. Anyway, thanks for watching. This is All Things Mandy.